My name is Emily, and if I ever had any doubt about where I stood in my family, it vanished the day I saw their will. I wasn't snooping. I was helping Dad scan some legal paperwork, like I always did. Mortgage forms, insurance, utility bills. They didn't know how to file online. The usual. Then I saw it. A folder buried under the pile labeled Estate Plan and Last Will and Testament. I opened it without thinking. Why wouldn't I? I was the one keeping that house running, for 5 years now. Paid their overdue bills, bought their groceries, repaired their heater. I thought maybe it was something I should know. Maybe they'd finally made things official. But when I opened the file, everything was left to my brother, Ryan. The house, the savings, the vehicles, every asset, every account, all going to the one person who had never lifted a finger, and me? I was mentioned once, a single line. We love both our children equally. Equally? Is that what they called this? I stood there frozen, holding the paper like it was burning through my hand. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. My fingers started to shake. I'd been their safety net, their unpaid accountant, errand runner, part-time repairwoman, all while Ryan slept until noon, played video games, and burned through what little money he got like it was Monopoly cash. He never paid rent, never bought groceries, never asked how they were doing. But somehow, he was their future. And me? I was just convenient. I didn't hear my dad walk back in. Not until he said, "Emily, what's taking so long?" I didn't hide the folder. I held it up and looked him dead in the eye. "So this is how it is," I said, my voice calm. Too calm. His eyes flicked to the paper, then back to me. There was a flicker of guilt. Barely. Before he sighed. Like I was being unreasonable. It's not what you think. That's all he said, I scoffed. Really? Because it looks pretty damn clear to me. I stepped closer. My voice never wavered. I've been paying your mortgage, buying your food, fixing your gutters, and you're leaving everything to Ryan, who does nothing. He didn't deny it. He just muttered, "It's complicated." As if that explained anything. I should have walked out right then, but I wanted to hear it from her too. "Mom," I called out. She walked in a moment later, wiping her hands on a dish towel. When she saw what I was holding, her smile faltered. Guilt washed over her face, but not regret. Just the discomfort of being caught. "Emily, sweetheart," she said softly, "you don't need the inheritance." I blinked. "Excuse me? You have a good job. You're independent. Ryan struggles. We want to make sure he's taken care of." That was it. That was their justification. Reward. The one who never tried. Discard the one who held everything together. I took a breath, deep, cold, steady, set the will down on the table like it was poison, and said, "Got it. Glad to know where we stand." I didn't wait for them to respond, didn't give them a chance to spin more excuses. I walked out the door and closed it behind me. They made their decision. Now it was time for me to make mine. I didn't go back to their house after that. No texts, no calls, no updates, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty. I stopped paying their grocery bills. I stopped sending them extra money every month like I used to, that casual thank you they never really said. The water heater broke a week later. I heard about it from my aunt, but I didn't offer to fix it, if Ryan was the one they trusted with everything. Then let Ryan handle it. At first, I think they assumed I was sulking, that I'd cool off and come running back, that I'd apologize. For what, though? Being betrayed? But days turned into weeks, and I stayed silent. Then, one afternoon, my phone buzzed, a text from Dad. No greeting, No explanation. No apology. Just, mortgage is due. That was it. No. How are you? No. We miss you. Just a line like I was their personal accountant. I stared at the screen for a long second, almost amused. They really thought I'd just slide right back into the role. I typed slowly, "Ask Ryan. It's his house, remember?" I pressed send and watched the message go through. Then I tossed my phone on the couch and went back to folding laundry. 5 minutes later, it buzzed again. "Mom. Emily, please don't be like this. We need to talk." Oh, now they wanted to talk? Now that things weren't getting paid? I waited. An hour. Maybe more. Then replied, "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice. Now live with it." I thought that would be the end of it for the day, but I forgot about Ryan. At 9:47 p.m., his name lit up my screen, and I already knew it was going to piss me off. Ryan. "Dude, why are you being so dramatic? It's not a big deal. Just help them out like always." Not a big deal? He really had the audacity to act like this wasn't betrayal. I typed back, "No, I think you've got it covered, since you're the favorite and all." He replied instantly. Ryan. "Oh my God, are you seriously mad about the will? Grow up. It's just money." Now it was just money. Now that it was all going to him, it suddenly didn't matter. I stared at the message, then typed, "Then you won't mind using some of your money to cover the mortgage, right?" No reply. Silence. The next morning, I woke up to another text. Mom again. This time she'd changed tactics. Guilt mode. Activated. "Emily, we're your parents. Family takes care of each other. We did so much for you growing up. And now you're just abandoning us?" I nearly laughed. Abandoning them? I'd kept them afloat for years while they pampered a grown man who never worked a day in his life. I was the one buying food, fixing their roof, covering surprise bills, all while working my own full-time job. Now that I'd stopped, suddenly I was cruel. I replied, "You made it clear I wasn't part of the family when you left me out of the will. Now Ryan can take care of you." I could practically picture her gasping dramatically, clutching her chest like she was in a soap opera. She always had a flair for victimhood, especially when she was in the wrong. 10 minutes later, Dad chimed in. "We're not asking for much, just enough to cover the mortgage for a few more months, until we figure things out. Don't be selfish." Selfish. That word made my stomach twist. I had bent over backward for them, sacrificed my time, my money, my peace. For what? To be called selfish? Because I stopped funding the life they planned without me? I clenched my jaw, took a deep breath, and typed, "No, I'm done." Then I turned my phone off. They made their choice. Now they were going to live with it. I thought ignoring the texts would be enough. I thought silence would finally make them understand. But the next day, around noon, I got a call. From the front desk of my apartment building. "Hi, Emily? Your parents are here." I blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "They're downstairs. And they said it's an emergency. They've been trying to call you and you haven't responded." I nearly dropped my phone. They showed up. At my home. Uninvited. Like this was some kind of intervention? "Please." "Don't let them up," I said, pinching the bridge of my nose. "I'm not expecting them, and I'm not coming down." There was a pause. They're being kind of pushy. Of course they were. "Tell them to leave. I'll call later." Which was a lie. I had no intention of calling. I hung up, but not 2 minutes later. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, we're downstairs. Open the door." No question, no apology, no warmth, just a demand. Like always. Another text followed. "We're not leaving until you come talk to us." I stared at the screen, my blood boiling. So this was their new strategy. Wear me down in person. Fine. They wanted a conversation? They were going to get one. I grabbed my keys and headed downstairs. Every step echoed with fury. This wasn't fear, this wasn't guilt. This was rage, the quiet, sharp kind. The kind that came from years of being used and discarded. I pushed open the front lobby door, and there they were. My mom, my dad, and of course, Ryan, standing like they were about to stage a family reunion. Mom's arms crossed. That familiar, "We're disappointed in you," expression plastered across her face. Dad's posture stiff, jaw tight, like he was holding back frustration. And Ryan? He looked bored. Bored, as if none of this was even worth his attention, as if he wasn't the reason we were all standing here. Mom was the first to speak, her voice trembling with practiced emotion. "Emily, finally, we need to talk." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. My voice was cool, controlled. "No, you need to leave." Her face twisted like she couldn't comprehend what I'd just said. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," I said slowly. "You don't get to show up at my home, demand money, and expect a warm welcome." "That's not how this works," Dad scoffed, a sharp, bitter sound. "You're really going to let us lose the house over a grudge?" I let out a cold laugh. "A grudge? You mean the part where I kept you financially alive, and you decided I didn't matter?" Silence. "Mom, that's not fair. We only did what we thought was best for the family." I tilted my head. "You mean best for Ryan. Just say it." More silence. Ryan, who'd been unusually quiet, finally spoke. "Look, I didn't ask for any of this. I'm just caught in the middle." I turned to him, eyes sharp. "No, you're not in the middle. You're on the receiving end. You didn't ask. You just took." His face flushed red. "What do you want me to say?" I stepped forward. Calm. Clear. "I want you to grow up. You want the house? Start paying the bills? You want to be the golden child? Start acting like, 1, I'm done playing your financial babysitter." Ryan looked away, suddenly fascinated with the sidewalk. Mom tried again. Voice softer now. Practiced, manipulative. "He's your brother." I nodded. "And I've supported him longer than you ever did." Dad's voice hardened. "You're being selfish." I laughed. For real this time. "That's rich. You two decided he deserved everything, and now that it's inconvenient, I'm the selfish one." Mom's eyes narrowed. "We thought you'd be more mature about this." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean silent? You mean keep paying for everything like nothing happened?" "Yeah, I bet you did." Dad stepped forward, towering like he used to, when I was younger. "We raised you. We gave you everything. The least you can do is help us." I stared at him, my voice steady. "I already did. For years. And you repaid me by cutting me out of your will." Mom's lip trembled. "We thought you'd understand." I shook my head. "I do understand. I understand that I was never family. I was just a backup plan, just a paycheck. That one hit. No one spoke." I looked at Ryan again. "And you. What's your excuse? You've had years to grow up, to contribute, but you didn't. Because you knew they'd cover you. And when they're gone, you figured I would." He opened his mouth, then closed it. Nothing. Mom made one last play. "We're family. Family takes care of each other." I stared at her. Let the silence stretch. Then I said, "Exactly. So why didn't you take care of me?" She had no answer. I took a breath. A deep, steady one. "We're done here." I turned, walked, back inside, didn't look back, before I even reached my apartment door. My phone buzzed. Dad. Wow. After everything we've done for you, you're really going to abandon us? I smirked. Typed one line. No, you abandoned me. I'm just finally accepting it. Send. Block. Silence. I thought blocking them would be the end of it. I thought the silence would bring peace. But the next morning, I woke up to war. I wasn't tagged in the post. Not directly. But the message was crystal clear. Mom. It's heartbreaking when your own children forget who raised them, when they turn their backs on the people who sacrificed everything for them. I hope one day they remember what real family means. Attached was an old picture of the three of us. I was maybe 10, smiling between them. The comments rolled in fast. You were such a wonderful mother. So sorry you're going through this. Kids these days have no sense of loyalty. I just sat there, staring at the screen, not shocked, not even hurt, just stunned at how quick they were to rewrite the narrative. I scrolled, and then I saw it. Dad, so-called family should never abandon you in your golden years. We gave our children everything, and now we're left alone, heartbroken. He tagged me. No subtlety, no shame. And then, of course, Ryan, his post, was the worst. Ryan, some people only care about money. They forget what love, loyalty, and sacrifice look like. I'd do anything for my parents, but not everyone has that kind of heart. I guess some folks only show up when it benefits them. The hypocrisy was so loud I almost laughed. He'd do anything for our parents? What? Like never contribute? Never work? Never show up unless free rent was involved? It wasn't just posts. A few relatives began messaging me. What's going on? With your parents? Your mom seems so hurt. Why don't you just talk to them? They're your family, Emily. I sat there, heart pounding, trying not to cry. Not out of guilt, but anger. Anger at how easily people bought the performance. Anger that the truth, the real truth, was still buried under their rehearsed victimhood. But then, I realized something. They could post all they wanted, had stayed silent out of respect. But they wanted the public's attention? Fine, they were going to get mine. I opened Facebook, my real account, the one I rarely used. No drama, no pity baiting, just facts. I took a deep breath and started typing. I wasn't going to say anything, but when people start weaponizing half-truths and playing the victim online, the silence becomes its own kind of lie. So here's the full story. No dramatics, just truth. I've supported my parents financially for over 5 years. Rent, groceries, repairs, quietly, willingly, because I love them. My brother Ryan has not worked, has not contributed. He's been fully supported by them, and in some ways by me. A few weeks ago, while helping with paperwork, I saw their will. Everything, and I mean everything, was left to Ryan. No warning, no explanation, not even a conversation. And yes, that hurt. Not because of money, but because of what it meant. I was never seen. Only used. When I decided to step back, just for once, I was met with silence, then guilt trips, then public shaming. So if you're wondering why I haven't been around, this is why. I'm not heartless. I'm just tired of being the only one who gives. I hit post, and for the first time in this whole mess, I felt peace. Within minutes, the responses started flooding in. Old classmates, distant cousins, co-workers, people who had no idea what I'd been carrying. Thank you for saying this. This explains so much. You deserve better, Emily. Even some of the people who had commented on Mom's post started messaging me privately. I didn't know. I'm sorry. That's not okay. They should have included you. And just like that, the shame they tried to throw on me started slipping off, not because I fought, but because I told the truth. Simple. Clear. Undeniable. I didn't need to scream. Didn't need to play the victim. All I had to do was show people who I really was and let them decide for themselves. And for once, they did. After my post went live, the silence didn't last long. Less than 12 hours to be exact. First came the texts, then the calls. Dad, you've ruined everything. This is family business, Emily, not for social media. Ryan, wow, just wow. You really had to make yourself the victim? Mom, you'll regret this. People are judging us because of your lies. I didn't reply to any of them. Not right away. I needed to breathe first, because deep down, they weren't mad I told lies. They were mad I told the truth. That's what manipulators fear the most. Exposure. But they weren't done. The next day, I received a bank transfer request, $3,500 from Mom. No message, no note, just a bold, silent request, like I was an ATM they could tap without asking. I declined it without hesitation. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Mom. I let it ring. Straight to voicemail. Another text came in seconds later. Mom. Emily, I know you saw the request. Why did you decline it? I took my time before responding, because it's not my responsibility. Try Ryan. She called again. I declined again. Then, the next guilt punch. Mom, we're going to lose the house if you don't help us. And there it was, the line they'd been building up to this entire time, the moment they could paint me as the heartless daughter. Again. I replied, maybe. You should have thought about that before deciding I didn't matter. A few seconds later, another message. Dad, you're really going to let your parents become homeless? I actually laughed. They weren't broke. They weren't on the streets. They were just unwilling to touch their own savings, because they were so used to me picking up the slack. This wasn't panic. This was pressure. I ignored them for the rest of the day. That night, my phone buzzed again. Ryan. Dude, just send them the money. You're making this a bigger deal than it is. I clenched my jaw. This entitled brat, who got everything, was now lecturing me? I typed back, you mean the money? You're inheriting? Why don't you send it? His reply came fast. You know I don't have that kind of cash right now. Oh, now we were talking about affordability. Suddenly it wasn't just money anymore. I replied, then you better figure it out. You're the one they chose. No reply. I went to bed that night feeling lighter, not happy, not relieved, but done. Years of emotional labor, financial sacrifice, and silent pain. Finally hitting a wall. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty for walking away. But the next morning, it escalated again. I was brushing my teeth when I got a text from the building manager. Hey, Emily, just a heads up. Your parents are here again. They're downstairs. I stopped mid-rinse. No. Way. Again? I called the front desk. The girl, who answered, sounded hesitant. They said it's urgent, that you're not answering. Do not let them up, I said. Tell them I'm not available at all. I hung up. My stomach twisted, not from fear, from disgust. This was their last card. Show up again. Cause a scene. Make me feel small. Pressured. Guilty. I stayed inside. Didn't go down. Didn't even respond to their texts this time. And then, one last message came. Dad, after everything we've done for you, you're really going to abandon us? I stared at it for a moment. Then I typed, no, you abandoned me. I'm just finally accepting it. Hit send. Block the number. For real this time. No more games. No more explanations. They made their choice. They lived in it. And I finally stepped out of it. After I blocked them, it was finally silent. No texts, no calls, no notifications. And for the first time in years, I could hear myself think, thought maybe I'd feel guilty, that the peace would feel empty. But it didn't. It felt like breathing after holding it in for too long. For years, I had been the first call when things broke, when bills were due, when no one else could be bothered to step up. I was the invisible scaffolding that held everyone together until I saw that will. Until I realized I wasn't part of the plan, just the help. And now? Now they had to figure out life without me. I kept checking Facebook not because I wanted drama, but because I knew they couldn't help themselves. Sure enough, a few days later, another post. Mom, it's painful when your own children cut ties and walk away. We raised her better, but maybe some people change. Maybe success makes them cold. I smiled to myself. There it was again, the narrative of the ungrateful daughter. I didn't comment, didn't clap back. I didn't need to, because I had already told the truth. And it was still standing there, quiet and solid, like a monument they couldn't tear down. What I did do was look back, not out of nostalgia, out of clarity. I remembered every small thing, the time I canceled a weekend trip to help fix their busted water heater. The nights I transferred money without being asked, because I knew they'd never say thank you. The holidays I spent making sure their home looked warm and full, while they barely noticed if I was tired. And all. That time, I never asked for anything. Not praise, not inheritance, just acknowledgement. I didn't get that. Instead, I got a line in a will saying, "We love both our children equally." As if love was a sentence on paper. As if it erased years of being. Treated like a convenience, Ryan, I imagine, is still living in the house. Probably still expecting someone else to pick up the slack. Probably still blaming me. That's fine. Let him. I've spent too many years shrinking myself so others could stay comfortable. Now I want comfort too, but the kind that doesn't come with strings attached. I want the kind of peace where my phone doesn't vibrate with demands, where I'm not guilt-tripped into saving people who wouldn't do the same for me. People keep asking if I'll ever talk to them again, if I'll ever go back, if I'll regret it when I'm older. I don't think I will. Because I didn't walk away to be cruel. I walked away because they never saw me. Only what I gave. And now? Now I give to myself. I surround myself with people who don't keep score, who don't just remember me when they're in crisis, who love me for who I am, not what I can provide. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm just done. Done fixing things I didn't break. Done pouring into cups that never once poured back into mine. So no, I don't feel bad for cutting them off. I feel free, and I still deserve better. Now, I finally believe I will find it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you've been through something similar, I'd love to hear your story. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more.